What's up, guys? Today I want to talk to you about why I am now an atheist. Lots of Christians want to come to me, or people of faith in general. I don't know if they're Christians, but a lot of them want to come to me and say, well, you're just mad at God, but undoubtedly you believe in God. You just have to because there's so much evidence for God. Look around. Look around. Okay, first, let me just talk about why I'm an atheist, basically, and then I'm going to talk about that look around crap. Um, I'm an atheist because it has nothing to do with me hating God. It has nothing to do with me being mad at God and undoubtedly believing in God. No, it doesn't. It actually has to do with the fact that I was trying to prove the existence of God. Of course, nobody believes me, but that's fine. People just think that I'm just mad at God or something like that, but like I've already stated, it's untrue. No, what I did was started a little while back. Just I saw something, and it was a pretty good question. It was posted by an atheist. It was basically asking why, if miracles existed. It was just a simple question: why don't we see amputees being healed? Which is a pretty good question. We call things miracles, yet it seems like it's only modern medicine performing them, not a deity, not anything supernatural. So that kind of got me thinking, and what I did was I started going online, researching things, starting to try as hard as I can to prove the existence of doesn't even have to be my God, the one that I believed in prior to, obviously, my atheism, but just a God in general. If I can just prove to myself that there's a God in general, just some form of deity, then I will be able to prove to myself, and just basically I'll be able to choose the God that I believe. Then if I can just say, well, hey, there's obviously has to be a God, so I choose this God, and then I'll be on my merry way believing what I always believed. So it was ultimately the decision to actually try and prove the existence of my God, I guess you could say. And it was through that I started realizing there really wasn't much foundation for a proof in a deity, and there was actually a lot of things against, not necessarily a deity, but there are lots of things against a theistic deity. There is absolutely no proof for a God. Don't get me wrong. That's the main reason why I'm a atheist rather than a deist. There's ridiculous amounts of proof against a theistic God having possibly existed. Just different things, like why do people believe this God over this God over this God, and it really got me thinking. And the vast majority of the reason why people believe what they believe is where they're born, how they're raised, and they're raised to believe that all these other gods are just stupid. But ultimately, we don't have people believing in Thor anymore. We don't have all these different gods around there and things. Well, why don't we believe in those gods anymore? We look at them as mythological and things like that. But back in the day, people truly believed in them, in Greek, and believed in all these different gods of thunder, gods of the underworld, god of this, of that, and it got me looking, and eventually I realized there really is no conclusive evidence for a creator. Now people try to use, well, the Bible says. Well, first you've got to prove me that the Bible is the Word of God, which people then try to go on to say, well, 40 people over thousands of years wrote it and it's all coherent and all the same, which first off, it's not. I can give multiple Bible verses that are very contradictory, but that proves nothing. I mean, okay, 800 years down the line, you look at that Bible, and you look at what's been pre-written before you, and then, okay, you write off of that. But either way, that just wasn't enough proof for me, and I started looking into things, into like prayer and things like that, and I mean, just the idea of it was ridiculous. Then people try to say that, well, look around, look at the world around you. It's spectacular. No, it's not. It's gruesome. It's vile. It's horrible. Well, you say, well, that's because of sin. Well, no, not at all. Here's the thing. You know, they say look around at this beautiful world. Well, everywhere we look, there's creatures eating other creatures, destroying others. And they say that, you know, God obviously created the earth just for us, created this world, as a matter of fact, just for us. And they try to actually use the expansion of the world and how big it is to prove how big God is. But the problem with that is, first off, this world is barely inhabitable. Barely. We look around and it looks spectacular because of everything that we've built. If we tore down all of that, got rid of all the guns, we would be back to thousands of years ago where we didn't have modern society. And those people, I guarantee you, they looked around and said, this place is horrible. Most of the earth is covered in ocean, undrinkable water. About 1% of this earth we can drink out of. We aren't the center of anything. We're not in the center of our solar system. They used to believe that. We're not the center of the galaxy. We're just some planet that just so happened to have life on it, have the capability of life to form in it. Excuse me, and it actually formed. And the more and more I read, the more of these things that I looked at as concrete, absolute evidence for a God, and just slowly crumbling. And I actually got really bad anxiety. I was scared because this person that I had believed in my entire life was turning out to be a possible falsehood. I mean, it was turning out to be untrue to me. And that's really a scary thought, that you think your entire life and make life decisions based on this belief. And now I'm finding out that things just aren't adding up. And it really got to me. I would look at, when I think a lot of Christians actually do this, I would look at an argument that evolutionists or atheists claimed, and then I would look at the rebuttal, the Christian rebuttal. And even though a lot of times it was really not a rebuttal at all, it was straw man arguments, different forms of very horrible arguing that really doesn't even argue the point. And I knew it wasn't, but I would read it and go, oh, okay, we're good. And then I would just leave. I wouldn't try and look at the rebuttal back to it. I wouldn't anything like that. And see, that's the thing. That's what a lot of people do. They look at one side. They look at what one side has to say about the other side, which you never do, because they're going to skew things towards that side. Now, it's not to say the other side won't skew things toward their side, but the only way to come to a conclusion is look at both sides objectively. Not look at one side and then see what that side has to say about the other side. That's not how you come up with a conclusion, ever. It's kind of like two people get into an argument, and then one of them comes to you and tells you their side of the story. And then you're all, oh man, that's ridiculous. And you're all fired up against this other person. And then you go see that other person, you're mad at them and everything. You know, why'd you treat them like that? Why'd you do that? And then they tell you their side of the story, and you're like, well, I get where you're coming from. You never look at just one side of the story, which is what I had done my entire life. And that's why it was so hard to admit that there's a chance that I could be wrong. What do you know? I could be wrong. And it's really a scary thought, because it's not just this wrong to where it's like, oh, well, you're wrong about, that gum's flavor. This is something that determined my entire, not only past life and mistakes that I had made, but where my life is going to go from there. It's going to determine every aspect of my life, the way that I look at the world, the way that I make my decisions. And to think that the way that I looked at the world was going to change was such a scary thought. It truly made me depressed for a long time, which is why it took well over a year for me to finally say, okay, I admit it. And it's the number one reason why a lot of Christians who have gone their entire life to believe this. I mean, what happens when things come up, and like evolution or something like that, and they threaten your entire worldview? What are you going to do? Or are you just going to go, let me see what they have to say? No, you're going to push it away with everything you've got. And I mean, it's really sad, honestly, to me, because to think that what if I would have gone through this 30 years from now, would have been married, would have based all of my decisions on this, and to think of possibly having to give all that up, that every decision in my life was based on that now isn't true. That's such a scary thought. So I fully understand people that don't want to look at it objectively. But the whole point is that I didn't just look at this and say that I hate God or anything like that. It actually wasn't until after I completely admitted to myself that I was an atheist that I kind of started viewing things differently and seeing things for how they really are. In my opinion, how they really are. Of course, a lot of people would beg to differ, but the fact of the matter is that it started changing the way that I looked at things, and that was what was so scary, because I knew it would. I'm still the same person. I still love life. I still love people. I love being with people, hanging out with people. I'm not all of a sudden a mass murderer now. I'm not going to go out and steal. I've actually learned that a lot of things that I had before I still have now, because they're my personality. They're me. They're not what someone else wants me to be. Maybe some of my views on life, how to live life and things like that have changed. Yes, of course, absolutely. But me personally and how I act and how I am hasn't changed at all. You can ask anyone that's been around me ever since I've stated my quote-unquote beliefs, or shall I say disbelief. And I'm pretty sure everyone would say that I'm the same person. But basically, that's it, guys. I just want to let everyone know why I am, or why I claim to be an atheist. And, alright, thanks, guys. Subscribe, and I promise there will be more videos.